Your name, your age, and what
My name is Carrie Howe, and I am Mashpee, Wampanoag, 36 years old. And I'm here today. The main reason is to be out in the circle and get my medicine, spiritual healing. But also, this is a homecoming for us, so seeing a lot of family members I haven't seen in a long time. And I'm also competing in Eastern Blanket category, and my sons are dancing in the Eastern War category. I've been coming to Powwow since I was born. This is something that it's been going on. Mashpee Powwow is one of the oldest in the country. Definitely a tradition for all of us.
My name is Brent Miracle Sagonin Siliosta. I'm a Mohawk from the Tyendinaga Mohawk territory, but I grew up on the Mohawk territory of Akwesasne. All my children are named in the traditional way, which is Mohawk way. Our elders name our children, so all my children they go by their Mohawk names for the most part. But they do go by English names as well to make it easier on some people. Before I was a pastor, I had a lot more flexibility on my vacation and that, and we would often go home to our home territory of Tyendinaga because at least 4 times a year, and that was so that we could celebrate the different ceremonies, or not ceremonies, but the celebrations, because we would have 7 Thanksgivings. And so we often celebrate each of those Thanksgivings throughout the year, and we teach them the stories. One of the important times that we do our stories is at midwinter Thanksgiving, which is usually around the beginning or the mid February timeline, and it's 10 days long. And that's when we tell stories and we give gifts, and we thank the Creator for getting us halfway through the winter, and we thank Him that we will be able to make it until the maple starts to flow. The Ganinagoa has everything to do with what it is to be a Mohawk, because it regulates our government, it regulates our interaction with one another, and it regulates our actions with outside governments and people of different cultures. It gives us our citizenship, and allows different levels of citizenship. So it's very complex. And basically, to sum it up, though, it's 117 codes that demonstrate respect and thanksgiving, respect for one another, respect for the Creator, and thanksgiving for our interaction with one another, and thanksgiving to the Creator for all these things that come together.
Right now I'm actually a cultural resource monitor for the tribe, so I kind of monitor and consult with archaeologists about where they should be digging. I do a lot of research that pertains to where our ancestors lived or where they would be fishing, and but right now I'm through UMass Boston archaeology. So I just actually completed a field school in Plymouth, Massachusetts, where we've been looking for the original Pilgrim settlement in Wampanoag village.
I grew up on several different American Indian territories. We started in the Menominee territory of Kashina, Wisconsin. Then we moved to the Senecas of Cattaraugus, which is just south of Buffalo, New York. And then we moved among our own people, the Mohawk in Akwesasne. My life growing up was pretty interesting. I was born in 1975, and 1975 was the ending of the American policy on termination of American Indians, and it turned to a policy of self-determination in 1975 with the Indian Education and Self-Determination Act of 1975. So we moved to the Kashina territory of the Menominee in Wisconsin. And that was pretty interesting. And the reason it was interesting is because of the turnaround in policy, the Menominees had regained their natural liberty. And many people don't realize it, but on reservations, they are not part of the United States or Canada. They're actually separated, and they don't have to go by the Constitution of the United States. And all of that depends on their relationship to either the United States or Canada, and their ability for their own natural liberty as a nation. The Senecas are a cousin people or a brother people to the Mohawk people, and because of that, my father, and the way my father was raised, and the way our family is, we're what we would call a traditional family, and his mother or his grandmother, that is, was a clan mother for the Wolf clan, and he had been brought up learning Mohawk and learning what we call the Gananagoa, which is the great law of peace, and that's the fundamental foundation of our governance system among the Haudenosaunee, which is the people of the Longhouse. The Haudenosaunee are 6 different nations that come together as originally the 5 nations. The English called us the 5 nations, the French call us the Iroquois. Then in the early 1700s, the Tuscarora came up from North Carolina to join us because they were fleeing the colonists. And so the Gananagoa allows nations to come in, and so they became the 6 nations when they came in.
It's definitely not only just our community, but communities from all over New England. And we also have a lot of our cousins from other tribes that come from all over the continent, really, even South America and Central America. So a lot of nations of people around. If you look around, you'll see all the different styles. You might see some bird feathers that come from the Amazon, or some furs that come from the Arctic or Hawaii or somewhere. So you can kind of gauge that that way, but. It's hard to say, there's over 600 nations of people just in the United States, so.
Mohawks always dance with their chin up, with their heads up. So it's real stoic, whereas out west, they're always bouncing their head going like this, like that, and that's really hard with our Gustoa because it'll bounce right off, and the eagle feather can't touch the ground. That's one of the common things among American Indians altogether, but we can't bounce our head because our Gustoa will go flying down. We always dance with our heads up, and even the stick dance and even the smoke dance, which is a very fast dance, freestyle dance. Their heads are always spinning, and it's really beautiful because you see especially with the Mohawks, because it's 3 feathers up and they're spinning. It's a really fun dance, and it's the way you show off in front of the girls too.
Definitely, we call it living with a foot in 2 canoes. To kind of 1 foot in the modern world and 1 foot in the past. But events like this we actually see as very contemporary. It's a homecoming, but that we invite the public and see a lot of things that you would never see at a traditional gathering 400 years ago or something like that. But when we really feel the most connected is when we're doing our our personal, private, community ceremonies, and we have lots of Thanksgivings and harvest fests and things like that. So that's when we really get our medicine, to be honest with you. This is more of a fun family reunion type thing.
All this all happens because it's dishonesty, but it's dishonesty based on ignorance and not willing to admit that you don't know, right? And that to like my elders is the worst form of person, that you're so prideful that you won't admit that you don't even know, and you're not, and because what that does is it blocks you from even learning. And in Mohawk, we're always learning, we're always taking in, we're always listening. And that's why the elders told us that the Creator gave you 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, so that you could do a lot more listening, a lot more looking than you do talking. They get frustrated all the time, and that's a lot of times why they would just tell people things just to almost get them out of their hair. Just go on. They're always asking questions instead of looking and being patient and observing the nuances and the interconnectedness and why you did this there. And basket makers they're frustrated too, because everybody says, okay, teach me how to make a basket. How many can I make in an hour? Right? Instead of the art of the work. And you're chopping down the ash tree and then stripping the ash tree and pounding the ash tree to get the strips, and then stripping all that work, demonstrating knowledge and craftsmanship, and all through that you're giving creator thanks for the knowledge, and so all those nuances are being lost. I went to a powwow in Natick, and I was invited to it. It was the praying Indians of Natick, and I saw this person, and it was a woman, and she had a ribbon shirt on, which is not a big deal, but she was wearing a gastoa, which is a man's headdress, and it didn't have anything on it. It just had I think it had turkey feathers on it. I went up to her and I said, "Sago," which is a common word for hello across our languages. And she turned around and I said, "Are you Tuscarora?" I said, "What's your name?" And the reason why I asked her if she was Tuscarora is because her gastoa didn't have any feathers up to identify. And the Tuscaroras, they don't have in Mohawk, we have 3 feathers up, 3 eagle feathers up. And she says, "No." I said, so you're Mohawk? Is that what you said? She says, "Yeah." I said, you know that you're not supposed to wear that, right?" And she says, "Oh no, some people said that I can." I said, "No, you can't, because you're a woman. That's a man's hat. It's a man's gastoa. It's called a gastoa." I said, "Women, they wear a crown. That's beautiful. Tuscaroras, if you said you're a Mohawk, then you would at least have 3 feathers straight up, because that gastoa tells me who you are, what tribe, what nation you're from, and it tells me your gender. But you don't have any feathers, and you don't have you're a woman, and you're wearing a man's hat. Not on any territory of the Mohawk people do women wear gastoas. It's not proper. We have very set ways, and we have roles that we respect, and we cooperate with one another, because we know that if everybody doesn't play their role in the family, then the family breaks apart. And this goes deep into the stories of the Haudenosaunee, and it goes way back to the Ganawida and Iwata, which is the belt that you have on your back. I said, so these things go way back, and everything is well placed together, because the Creator gave this all to us.
It's hard because, we see it as, pre-contact, before 1620, when the Pilgrims arrived, there were, 30,000 of us. And then when the Pilgrims got here, there were 100 of them. 50 of them died the first winter, and there was only 50 alive. But now they say there's about 6 million descendants from the original 50 colonists. And, us, where there were still, thousands and thousands of us here, there's only probably 5,000 of us left. But the good news about that is, our numbers are actually increasing now. A lot of us are marrying, other Wampanoag people or other closely related Algonquian people in the area. So, we see it as, I can't speak for everyone, but my generation, we see it as if our parents made the decision to marry out, it's our responsibility to marry back in. And most importantly, make sure our children carry on our traditions. Because, how you're living, how you're playing, how you're dancing, singing, the languages we pick is who you are. So, that's what it's really about to us, is making sure that our children know these things. Spiritually and emotionally, we're very intuitive to each other's feelings, and we're always there for each other to back each other up. If someone's getting, in trouble for something they shouldn't be in trouble for, or trying to fight that, our ancestors have been fighting for a long time, we try to support each other, not just Wampanoag people, but, if other nations, our cousin nations around us, we try to support them in their battles as well.
For the Mohawks particularly, I don't know a whole lot about other people, but the language, that's the key. They always bring back the language. The language is key to what and how we think, and the way we dress and the way we do things kind of identify you as who you are, right? The way you respect, the way you hold yourself, the way you handle conflict. And
called Wampanoag, and it's part of the Algonquian language group, which is actually the largest language group in North America and the second hardest language group on earth. So it's a very difficult language, and we're actually the first language to ever be brought back from a language that had no native speakers left alive. And we were able to do that because the colonists were really concerned with Christianizing us, so they had to keep records of us. We had to learn how to read and write very early on, like the 1630s, so we could read scripture. And so the first book ever published on this continent was actually the King James Bible in Wampanoag. So many documents handwritten by Wampanoag people from that time in Wampanoag language made it, that's why we were able to do that, to bring it back. And there's also lots of closely related languages that are still have thousands of native speakers. So, if we don't have a document that has a certain word, we can, see what other tribes use and then change it to our dialects. For children, they're learning both, from birth, which is very exciting. And they're very lucky to be able to do that.
When I was talking to one of my elders, Mavis Achen, up in Ganasadage, I was talking to her and I said, Matien, which is for Anne. And she says, what'd you say? I said, Machin. And she says, don't you use that word. I said, why? She says, because that's not even a Mohawk word. That's the word that kind of got crept in there by these French people. It means it's like a Mohawk version of auntie in French. And we don't have aunts in Mohawk. The women are all istan. And I said, oh, and she says, yeah, it's always istaha. Yeah, the Mohawks were actually some of the early receivers of Christianity because the Mohawks are a monotheistic people, which means that we believe in one God, and we have the Thanksgiving address, which is called the I'm blanking Ohanto Galiwat Tegwa, which is the words that come before everything, and that's in a Thanksgiving address. And through that address, we address all of the creation, but it's a way for us to speak through to the Creator. So we don't have spirits in the trees or anything. That's animism in that, but we speak through it, and then we combine that address brings us together in one mind. Then we address the Creator, and we recognize our relationship with Him. Well, Christianity actually brought a personal relationship with the Creator that we didn't have before because of Jesus Christ, giving a way to speak fully to God because of that connection. Some people are not Christians, obviously, and so they continue to go with the straight Ganyan Nagoa. Some of them are Handsome Lake, which is a different religion that came about the time of Thomas Jefferson through a man named Handsome Lake. But they do coincide very well. There's all these nuances that have been diminished because so many people, they want the label. So if I dance and if I wear enough feathers or jingles or jangles, or if I just put it on, everybody will think I'm authentic. People do have a deep sense of desire to belong to a larger group than themselves. That way they have an identity. Because on our own, we oftentimes don't have an identity on our own. But you try to kind of fit into lacrosse players. They all wear lacrosse stuff. Why? Because it says, I belong to this, right?
Everyone has had negative experiences. So I can't speak for everyone, but for the most part, especially since we're gaining more strength in numbers and with federal recognition and things like that. So people, we're a lot more visible to people now than we were, when my grandfather was a kid or something. It's one big family, everyone here I'm related to in some way, like by blood. Like at one time there was, 400 of us. So. I love everyone. Even, I love all the other tribes that come too. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's either related by blood or by marriage at this point.